Welcome to Cigars and Hip Hop. A show about hip hop during its golden age era.
Turn my mic on.
We'll also be discussing cigars and drinks that we enjoy during the discussion.
What's in your cup but you be smoking up.
And now, let's get on with the show.
I listened to a compilation a long time ago that Ice-T did. Rhyme Syndicate. And he had cats on there, and I can still remember him naming off all these different dudes. And he got the one dude, Everlast.
Yeah, Everlast.
And Everlast just started flowing. And just listening to him, he was just going and going and going.
House of Pain.
And shit. Ain't nobody tripped. Like, I didn't know Everlast was a white boy. Mm-hmm. I just knew he had skills. And then when he came out with House of Pain, I was like, oh, damn. But then, you look at House of Pain, you didn't even look at like a bunch of white boys. House of Pain, Third Base. You said, you mentioned MC Search. Mm-hmm. You didn't look at them as white boys. They were skilled. They was just artists.
Yeah, they were part of that Prince Paul.
Yeah, Prince Paul.
But yeah, it's that's what the great thing about hip hop is, and we hope it continues that way. Like, I love like all these new kids coming out. Mm-hmm. It was like, I remember when I had first heard. I was still younger. You would have already known because you were older. But when Two Live Crew came out, I didn't know there was a Filipino cat in Two Live Crew until I actually saw, because all I had heard was the music.
Yeah, right. You never saw the face. You only listened to the tracks.
And I was like, oh shit, they got a Filipino cat in this game.
May he rest in peace.
Is he dead?
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, Fresh Kid Ice from Two Live Crew.
I didn't know that. Wow, I did not know that. But yeah, I didn't know that it was a Filipino cat in Two Live Crew. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think I don't know. Like, I love it when people make music, and I love it when they make good music, and I like it when you can tell that their heart's in it.
Yep.
And that they care about the music and stuff like that. And I think going back to Eminem, I think that's one thing you can always tell is that he never made the music just to make the music.
Exactly.
He made music because he loved to rap. And he was very, very good at it. Like, so I think that's kind of like where,
I mean, he also
had to work hard to where he got to, I think.
well, yeah, because white boy is not gonna, you go up against a bunch of brothers, like him and Proof.
Oh,
who
rest
was
in peace,
like,
Proof. Rest in peace, Proof.
Proof is like the black version of Eminem. Like, he literally they're like twins in a way, right? Like, Proof was so dope on the mic. I just don't think he had the solo appeal. Like his first album, was it Kurt Cobain? I think was that the first? Was it his first album?
I looked that up.
Well, I guess it's his only album, really, because he unfortunately passed away before another album was released. But that album was fire. Like, I don't know or Jerry Garcia, I think, is the name of his album. Was it? Proof's first album?
Hold on. My phone's lagging in. Hold on. Proof.
Somebody got Metro.
You mean that Getro? That Getro?
Getro.
Shit.
That or what is that other one called?
Cricket.
Yeah, Cricket.
Okay, so it looks like that his first album was I Missed the Hip Hop Shop.
That was what, in 90?
No, wait.
That was 2004. Okay, his second album.
Okay, so
Searching for Jerry Garcia. That's the album.
Okay,
that album is fucking crazy.
Damn, now you got me thinking about ice cream. That Jerry Garcia shit.
Cherry Garcia.
That shit good as fuck.
And that sucks. Like, what I would like, hopefully, maybe on some podcast, we should talk about more of like groups and like how they influenced, like, because D12, like, talking about, like, because we're talking about Cypress Hill, talking about Third Base. I'm actually trying to write I don't know if it's an article or if it's, I don't know. I'm just writing something about, like,
The Diplomats?
The groups and how, like, like I'm basically creating like top group lists, right? But it has certain restrictions to it. So like one form is like duos. Right?
Yeah.
That's only
Loonies.
2 rappers.
Like Run DMC.
Like, but that's the case. Is like, do you consider them a duo? But Jam Master Jay was a very big part of that group, right?
Okay.
It's the same with like if you look at like Tribe Called Quest. Yeah, there's 2
Yeah.
MCs, but Ali Shaheed is very much a big part of that group. Plus, they had the other guy. Always forget his name. He was a part of the group, so they were actually 3.
Ali Shaheed. Who was Mr. Muhammad?
That's Ali Shaheed.
Okay.
But there was the 3rd guy, and I always forget his name. He left the group after after Midnight Marauders, I think it was. He became a
It's on the
chef.
tip of my tongue too. Fuck.
He left and became a chef. But he's back with Tribe after R.I.P. Fife. After he passed away, he came back on Jerobi. That's
Jerobi, that's right. Jerobi.
That's his name. He came back into the fold. So it's very interesting. Like I consider Outkast as a duo. They don't have a DJ.
Yeah.
There's no UGK is a duo. There's no they have a DJ, but he's not a prominent member of the group, right?
Yeah.
Like
Unfortunately, the DJ died out, towards the late 80s to the early 90s.
yeah, because it became like the one. It was like the one.
Yeah, but in the 80s, I mean, having a DJ was a big part of your crew.
Well, the DJ was in the 80s. The DJ was he was the main event. The rapper was just there to pump up the crowd.
Sorry to cut you off, Sarah B, but correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Gangstar 2 rappers and
No.
DJ Premier? Was it one
rapper?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just Guru.
DJ Premier was a
and then
DJ.
yeah,
Okay,
and then
sorry.
Premier.
I had to ask that because I.
Nice and smooth.
Nice and smooth. Pete Rock and CL
Rock
Smooth.
CL. Well, I don't know.
But then
'Cause in
again,
the beginning,
right.
CL Smooth
He does so
was
much.
the rapper, and Pete Rock was sort of like
He was the
behind
producer
beats.
and the beat. Like so that's where I've been looking through history. Like the Loonies, that's a duo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Numbskull and Yuck Mouth.
Yup. Yuck still doing it.
Digital Underground. The
The
original,
Regime.
The Regime. But yeah, I don't know. So I'm like trying in the process of trying to like build like all these like I've been like collecting all this like all these names and like going through all these catalogs and stuff like that and just looking at like who I think I'm just trying to like rank them so that we can like discuss it.
That'd be cool.
About it.
You know what I was gonna say though.
People.
Oh, sorry to go. Yeah. I was gonna say like.
Dog Pound.
Oh yeah. I thought there were 3, isn't it?
No.
Snoop Dogg,
Well,
Nate Dogg,
yeah,
and
Dog Pound.
There's the
At
Dog
first
Pound.
it was 3 of them,
Right.
But then the second one, it was just Daz and Corrupt.
Well, there's
Oh.
the dog. There's the
Wait. Yeah. So wait, hold on.
There's the
Is
Dog
5 there?
Pound. Well, there's the Dog Pound. It's like it's Snoop, Nate Dogg, Corrupt, Daz, Warren G's kind of like an affiliate
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Corrupt. Basically, anybody who came up in that area of friends is the Dog Pound.
Yeah.
But then there's the actual Dog Pound, which is just Corrupt and Daz.
Daz.
You know, I gotta say something about that in a minute, but before I lose my train of thought, what I want to do next podcast, it'd be kind of fun to write down like each of us like write down 10 of our favorite bars of all time. Like I know that we talk about top 5 rappers, top 5 albums, but recently I've been getting into like rating bars, like who got the best bars, who got like one of my favorite bars, whatever. I wish I wrote them down, but just want to keep that in mind. But just going back to the Dog Pound, recently I've been hearing a lot of like ever since I guess since Suge Knight, how many years did Suge Knight get?
Like 27.
He got some.
And so
think about
I guess I want to get your thoughts on this because I mean all BS aside, because I don't wish no jail time on nobody, but I guess Daz is getting a lot of hate for comments on that. I don't know if you guys heard what that said.
Yeah, motherfucker. It was foul, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
It was foul because, like you just said, you don't wish hate upon nobody.
No, at least not like that. Not like jail.
Jail time is a motherfucker.
I mean, I never been to jail, so I can't say. But
Okay,
yeah.
well, I ain't never done no serious time, but just the amount of time that I was in there, the shit ain't no fun. But Daz basically went on public media, or whatever that shit is called, and was like laughing.
Yeah, at the thought of it, yeah, right.
Yeah, it then made a statement like, to Suge's son, talking about, make sure you go visit your daddy because he needs you. Then he starts singing some shit like saying he needs you, you know, just like taunting him.
Damn.
And it was frowned upon by both Crips and Bloods.
I didn't see, but I didn't see nobody who. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah,
Team?
you know, but it was just people. If you about that life, or you used to be about that life, you know how serious it is to do 30 days in jail,
let alone years.
And you know, true, Suge Knight been through a lot of shit, and I'm not gonna dry snitch on Suge.
Yeah.
Suge's been accused of being involved in a lot of shit.
Exactly.
And just like the Tekashi 6ix9ine shit, been accused of being a lot of shit. And soon the scales sorta, they're no longer even. That shit, that bad negative shit starts to build up, and you get caught up and you get caught.
Yeah.
Karma's a bitch. But the way Daz was acting, he was just like laughing like it was funny. And it's sad because that man is going to spend the rest of his natural life behind bars.
Yeah, how old is he? He's like what, 60?
No, he's probably in his 50s.
He probably in his early 50s.
40s, late 40s maybe?
He maybe late 40s, early 50s.
late 40s.
But still, even if he was 30 and you getting out of jail when you in your 50s, close to 60, 20-something years is a lot of years. I mean, I hope to have 20 more years left.
Yeah.
But I can't even think of going to jail right now for fucking a week.
Yeah.
It's, you know, a lot of shit can happen.
in jail in a week.
I mean,
Yeah.
we just talked about Rated X. He out. But look at all them years wasted behind bars. All the
Suge
shit
Knight is 53.
Huh?
53.
53 years? Oh fuck.
53
He's gonna
yeah.
he gonna die in there.
Well, the thing too is like,
Well, it ain't Fed pen though, right?
no, it's not that.
Oh, it's not Fed? I thought that was what that was.
53, so that means he gonna have to serve.
Oh, halftime?
20,
Halftime?
at least 27 years.
Yeah.
26, 27
So he'll be
years.
out when he's
Is that
73.
is that with good behavior? Or is
I
that
think he has to do 80. Doesn't he have to do 80% of the time?
I forget how many.
I can't remember. But the thing about Dad, like, I mean, I get it. Like, Daz got screwed by Suge Knight for so long, like on money, and just like that whole death row era is very sad to me.
I almost want to say it's
Because-
also very sensitive.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get why he's doing it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but at the same time, it's like Chris said, is like karma's a bitch. Like Suge Knight did so much shit and so much dirt. Like I don't know even half of the shit that he probably did. You know, I know the shit that.
Well, he put people on. He put people on.
Well, yeah, he built a great thing, and then basically destroyed it. You know,
Hella quick.
Suge ended up doing what he accused Puff Daddy of doing.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Suge should have stayed in the back, just back in the dark, in the corners, collected that check,
put people on.
and continue to put people on. Dude, you ain't never see Barry Gordy,
Right.
What
you
about
know,
Jay Prince?
talking shit. Or, Jay Prince for now.
Like,
you don't see Jay Prince. Jay Prince does his little interviews and whatsoever. You know,
I
about
feel like
the
that's
book.
now.
Like, he just did an interview. He had a book out. You know, he did that. And he does his little interviews and whatsoever. But he wasn't like Suge. Suge had to be the limelight. He was already a massive character.
Right.
But he had to be in the middle of everything. That shit in Vegas. He had to be, take part in. I understand you down for your hood. But it comes a point in time where you got these people that you taking care of, and you got yourself that you got to take care of. You got to leave that hood shit behind.
Right. Well, that's the thing too. Is like I never really thought Puff Daddy was. I don't think he ever did anything wrong. Like
I don't think he did nothing wrong either.
like Puff Daddy got on the songs. You know,
Yeah.
he was at the beginning stages. Puff Daddy was a glorified hype man.
Yep.
Yeah,
he
pretty
was.
much.
He was Flavor Flav. He was. Shout out, which is great. I loved it. I thought it was great. I still think it's great. Like.
That little crazy ass dance he be doing.
Yeah,
and
he
shit.
did the little Harlem Shake thing. He
Yeah.
did the whole thing. Like
He was an entertainer.
that's the thing is like, it's like Suge Knight was jealous of what Puff Daddy brought to the table. Like Puff Daddy is not he's a producer, but he didn't create the beats.
Exactly.
But Puff Daddy has one of the greatest, and I think this is something that I've like what I've seen from over the years is Puff Daddy's his ear game, if that makes sense, is amazing. Like he can hear things that like makes a hit. He can change, he can tweak stuff. Like but he wasn't behind the boards all the time. He had the hit makers who were behind the boards. He had those guys making the beats, making the music, and he was there afterwards to come in and be like, all right, let's listen to it. What do we need? Let's change the highs. Let's put some, let's do this. Let's do this. That to me is an amazing talent. Like, he's a good businessman.
Yeah,
Suge Knight was
good
never
businessman.
Suge Knight was never a good businessman. He was never a great businessman. He was a businessman, and he just couldn't let go of the fact that he had to stay hood. You don't have to stay hood. Like, if you live in Rancho Cucamonga, guess what? You're not hood anymore.
Sorry.
Like, that's just the reality of it. Like, that's like people out here who pretend to be from San Francisco, but they live in Millbrae.
Yeah.
Guess what? You don't rep San Francisco. You're not from you're from the Bay Area. You can say that,
Yeah.
but you're not from San Francisco.
Exactly.
Like, your set is not, the Mission. You don't.
Exactly.
That's not where you're from. You're from fucking Millbrae. You're from Daly City. You're from Pacifica. Like, I never claimed to be from San Francisco. I lived in Pacifica my whole life. People come and square me, and they're like, "Yo, where you from?" Gateway Drive, Pacifica. I live right off of Hickey. Like, what do you mean? Where am I from, homie? Like, that's not who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
And Suge Knight, I think, and it goes to every entertainer that's had its rise and fall. MC Hammer is a product of this. MC Hammer, and not so much from the hood side, but he tried to put everybody on. He tried to make money for everybody, and when the money ran out, they all left him.
But he still has a lot of respect and credibility. I'm sure.
Oh, MC Hammer is a gangster.
I think even though he's out of, I don't think he's fully broke, but I feel like he's getting taken care of.
Well, that's the thing is MC Hammer was never broke.
Yeah, he ain't never go. To rich people, he broke.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
To us,
he
he's
still got bread.
very much.
Yeah, no, I guess that's what I'm saying.
Look,
Yeah.
he's not living on the hills in Oakland, but he's living in a very comfortable house.
He comfortable.
Yeah.
Like,
He good. No,
Even
yeah.
when he filed bankruptcy, MC Hammer was never broke. Like, it's the same thing with 50 Cent. 50 Cent filed bankruptcy, but 50 Cent ain't broke.
I didn't know about that. When he filed for
Donald
bankruptcy?
Trump.
Like 2 years ago?
Donald Trump.
Was it over effing vodka?
No.
I think because
I forgot what it was about, but
50 Cent?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had filed for bankruptcy, but he was trying to get out of some shit, paying some shit.
I feel like it was because of effing vodka because now he's doing the champagne.
I don't.
I could be wrong.
But and then Suge Knight just never let the hood go, and I think that's kind of Daz's problem right now as well. Is that he's like, look, man, like if you still live in if Daz still lives in Long Beach,
Dad's living in Atlanta now.
like
does he?
it's just
Dad's
thought he-
in Atlanta. He's in Georgia. He's in Georgia.
You know what?
somewhere.
That explains why he's talking so crazy.
But the thing about it is, like what was being said, you can't have street corner mentality up on the 20th floor boardroom.
No.
You lead the shooting dice and the drinking 40s and all that bullshit and the weed smoking and shit. You leave that shit downstairs
On the block.
But when you come up, you be ready to handle business and act as a businessman.
There's
and
a place
handle
for
shit.
everything, yeah.
You leave all the hood shit behind. Just what we getting back to again with like the beef shit. These cats have to stop embracing the hood lifestyle and think about them as music. And I understand it completely. They think, okay, if I ain't gutter, if I ain't hood no more, I'm losing my credibility as a gangster, or I'm losing my credibility as, a hot ass artist from the neighborhood. Okay, to a certain degree, that's true. But also to another certain degree, you look at these skilled artists. You look at Tribe Called Quest, Q-Tip, and Fife. Again, Fife, rest in peace. But they were skilled. You didn't hear Q-Tip talk about busting caps on nobody. You didn't hear, Fife talking about busting caps on nobody. And true, they're two different. Tribe Called Quest is totally different from Dog Pound.
Yeah.
But all in all, they still some neighborhood cats.
right. I mean, Tribe Called Quest didn't grow up. They grew up in Queens.
Yeah. And they just knew, all right, we here for business. This is business. This is our livelihood. This is our life. Let's leave all this bullshit behind. Suge was never able to do that.
Right. And even so I think that's like the biggest that's the saddest thing about the Death Row
Dynasty?
era is that it was because of the hood mentality that they had to keep that vibe going in that area for them to like basically to create music. Like that's why Dr. Dre left. He's like, yo,
Yeah.
I don't relate to this anymore. I'm not fucking in the hood anymore. I don't need to fucking scrounge and scrap to get. I can go buy my own studio. Like,
Exactly.
So it's like, you know, it's, and I think that's kind of, even though I can't stand the kid, like Tekashi 6ix9ine has made all this money, but yet he wants to stay hood. He wants to live in the hood, and to a certain degree, so was like that's how Big Pun was. Pun lived in the hood.
Pun's still there, yeah.
He lived in the hood. He wanted to stay in the familiar area, but when you got wolves around you, and
They're hungry,
and you dangling fresh meat around, like what do you think is gonna happen? Like jealousy, money breeds jealousy, and I think the one thing that I learned like from Dame Dash, who by the way is probably one of the smartest people in the world.
Damn, he's a genius.
He's an asshole.
Fucking asshole.
But that dude is one of the smartest, and I encourage everybody to go and listen to his interview on the Breakfast Club about just life and everything, and being your own boss and being just. I highly recommend it. It's from like a year or maybe 2 years ago, but it's one of the things in my mind that always like hits me the hardest when I think about stuff. But in any case, sorry to go on the rant there.
That's cool.
What he
Good.
said on the documentary, I think it was the not backstage, not maybe it was the Def Jam. It was the Def Jam, Rough Riders. Was that backstage? No, I don't remember. I can't remember the name of the thing, but he's talking to DJ Clue and his crew.
Was that backstage?
That's backstage? Okay.
Yeah.
So he's talking to DJ Clue and his crew.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how there should never be one person in the crew that holds everything. Mm-hmm. Everybody should hold equal amount of everything, because if one person goes to jail, his man can put his other man on and he can help him.
Yeah.
He said, but when you rely on one person and people start feeling a certain way, like they're not eating right,
Yeah.
then that's when shit in the crew goes south and you lose everything. And that's what happened to Death Row. Death Row was, everything was riding on, it all started riding on Dre. Mm-hmm. It started all riding on Snoop. Then it started all riding on Pac.
Yeah.
Pac passed away and it all crumbled.
Just crumbled, fell to pieces.
Snoop was going through things. Dre was going through things. You know, it wasn't an equal place.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Death Row really found, that's how Death Row like just fell. Like once Pac died, Snoop couldn't carry the whole company on his shoulders anymore.
And
like,
he wasn't happy because all that shit that happened
In,
with the interview with
in New York.
In New York,
Yeah.
where Pac and Suge and them got mad at Snoop, because Snoop was like, you know, they're my homies.
I
ain't got
love
no problem.
Biggie. I love
Bad Boy. What he said? I love Puff Daddy and Big. He said they're my homies. They're my homies.
Yeah.
And they all got mad.
Yeah, I can see why they would get mad.
I mean, pissed to the point. I think Snoop said something about him and Pac had stopped talking.
Yeah.
And he didn't get a chance to even talk to Pac before Pac got shot.
Yeah.
That was in New York, right when he first got shot, right?
No, second time.
Yeah, that was the second
Oh.
time.
In
Second-
Vegas.
When
He,
when he got
Oh,
to Vegas.
fuck. Okay.
He went to the hospital, but Pac was already unconscious. He said he whispered in his ear and talked to him. But yeah, Tupac was furious at him. They said on that plane flight back, he basically like nobody would talk to him.
And he said he was holding on to a knife.
He had a knife in his hand, and he had his hoodie over his eyes, or he was like laying down, had his hoodie over.
This is Pac or this is Snoop?
No,
No,
this is Snoop because he
Afraid
thought
for his
that
life.
because he thought that somebody from Suge's crew was going to try to fuck him up.
Yeah.
You know,
Because Suge had hitters with him.
he kept goons around him.
Yeah.
Kept him
No,
around.
yeah.
But
And that's what Dre bounced, because Dre didn't want to have to deal with all that shit that was going on at the Death Row Studios. He was like, I don't want to deal with
He's
this
like, I'm
bullshit.
about my business.
After Snoop left, Death Row went on a campaign about like getting at Snoop.
Yeah, they was talking
Well,
about
yeah, I
that
mean,
shit.
even like you had like his like people that he was cool with, you know. But that was the thing is like, Suge Knight to me he wasn't a great businessman. He was just a dude that was good at intimidating people.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing. But once you're not intimidated by him, then it's nothing. Like I remember watching a video about was it Lazy Bone was talking about how they were performing in Cleveland, and the Dog Pound was there, and Suge Knight was there, and all of his Suge Knight's boys were there, and they tried to step to Lazy Bone, and Lazy Bone's like, he didn't back down. He's like, I don't give a fuck who you are, because he rode with Ruthless.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I don't give a fuck who you are. So he basically stepped to him. He's like, yo, you're in my city. This is not L.A. You're in Cleveland.
Because them Bone Boys is deep.
Yeah.
They deep.
That Mo Thug crew.
Yeah.
He's like, yo. He's like, you will not leave here alive. And it was because of Tupac was like, nah. This is like he was like talking to
Tupac
Lazy.
was cool with
he
him.
was like, yo, this is my homeboy. This is my dude. And then Suge backed off. But yo, like he was talking about it. He was like, once you are not intimidated by Suge Knight is nobody to you. Like,
Yeah.
And that was the thing is like Suge Knight tried to rule as like this overlord type of person. It's like, dude, just be about the business, man. Like, you literally became what you didn't like.
I
And
think he lacked the vision, you know.
well, he liked humidity as well,
Yeah.
to a certain degree, right? Like,
Yeah, but I think he, you know, he could have taken his business to even bigger roads. But I think that when you run a business like that without, number one, lack of vision. Number two, when you're running, when you think you can run it the way you know things roll in the hood, it just wouldn't work out.
Well, see, with Suge started out on the wrong foot because I don't know if y'all know or not. It's common knowledge, public knowledge that Suge got a lot of his fronting from Harry O.
Right.
Y'all heard of Harry O?
Oh, right.
Big ass gangster. Well, excuse me, now I'm dry snitching. Alleged. But he got his bread from Harry O. Did all the Death Row stuff. It was Godfather music, I believe. They started doing everything, and then they kind of just, since Harry O was doing time, pushed him to the left and be like, you know, you gave us the seed money, we going on doing what we gonna do, and fuck you.
Right.
You know, and that you can't never bite the hand that feeds you.
Right.
Exactly.
Never, because the shit will come back around tenfold. But Suge started out on the wrong foot, and he ended up, you know, exactly the way he treated people and the things that he did. Now you're going to have to pay for it for the rest of his life.
karma will always come back to bite you.
Always
And that was
come
the biggest difference when you look at Murder Inc. and with Supreme. Like, they never turned their back on Supreme.
Yeah.
Even when he went to jail and all that stuff, like Irv Gotti always had loyalty and always took care of him and everything. And there was, you know, even when the feds thing happened and everything like that, like, to me, Death Row, that's how Death Row should have been. But they chose to go in a different direction, whatever. I mean,
Death Row could have still been a powerhouse. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever remember seeing that where it showed Tupac and he was with Suge, and he was talking about they was going to do a Death Row East.
yeah, they were going to do the One Nation, like,
Yeah, and if they had been able to do something like that, that would have been something unstoppable, because they did have a catalog at the time of some really strong artists, and they could have branched out in New York as well. But because of having somebody that wanted to be a bully or an intimidator, you know, he just couldn't get past that persona.
Yeah.
He had to be seen like, I mean, do you remember what was it? It was what's the dude talk show host? Not Jimmy Fallon. Is it
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. Remember when he was on the Jimmy Kimmel show and he came out, he had a cigar and everything, walked out, you know, he always had to be like the center of attention or something, like this big menacing figure.
Right.
And now when he get out, if he get out alive, he gonna be an old ass man. Ain't nobody, I mean, shit. Honestly, in the pen, really, if he ain't got no bread to back him, he gonna just be another inmate in the pen.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And that concludes another episode of Cigars and Hip Hop. See you next time.